Baldur's Gate has established itself as one of the most iconic role-playing video games of all time, and it is set in the Forgotten Realms, Dungeons & Dragons. The series was first developed by BioWare, and it has come a long way, with several iterations releasing over the course of 27 years. In 2023, Larian Studios released the game's latest iteration, Baldur's Gate 3, which introduced a whole new range of playable characters and side quests. The game won over the players' hearts with its rich narrative, complex characters, and plot twists as players picked out their own playable characters and created their story arcs, and today, we shall explore every single race in the game. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin.
It's a relief and a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Say, but I know you.
Human. Humans are certainly one of the most common races in the Forgotten Realms of Faerûn, and they could easily blend in any scenario. While some players consider the human characters boring, they serve as a middle ground and adapt to just about any situation. They might be boring, but they are known for their unending capacity for growth, tenacity, and creativity. They were also proficient at handling a range of weapons, such as spears, pikes, halberds, and glaives, as well as armor and shields. As a human, one's character could move about 9m per turn and also receive a bonus on one's skill of choice. There are a range of skills for the human race to choose from, such as athletics, acrobatics, sleight of hand, stealth, survival, intimidation, and deception. Other skills included collecting information, animal handling, and studying subjects such as history, nature, religion, and medicine.
I think you could trust me just a little further.
Elf. Known to be one of the most common races in Faerûn, elves have extended lifespans and have managed to stick around for over 700 years. Characterized by their magical prowess and graceful features, the elves in the Forgotten Realms are especially known for their aloof nature, and Baldur's Gate 3 offers a few subrace options between the magically proficient High Elf and the nature-loving Wood Elf. Both these subraces share the ability to wield long swords, long bows, and short bows, and they also have dark vision up to 12 meters. While the High Elf has a free cantrip that allows it to choose from a range of spells such as Blade Ward, Mage Hand, and Ray of Frost, the Wood Elves are known for their stealthy nature. The High Elves are known as the heirs to the mystical Feywild, and they can perceive and perform magic in several forms. Even those elves who struggle with studying spellcraft have enough power to manipulate the weave, and they often switch up their cantrips from an extensive wizard spell list. On the other hand, the Wood Elves prefer staying within the confines of Faerûn's forests and dedicate their lives to studying archery and camouflage techniques. Drow. Drows were known for their ruthless pragmatism, and they were once known as a devoted race who served under the Queen of Spiders, Lolth. They had separated themselves from the rest of the Elven culture and restricted themselves to the Underarch, but it was not long before a sect of Drows decided to create their subrace. While the Lolth-sworn Drow stayed with the evil goddess, the newly formed subrace of the Seldarine rejected her rule and even attempted to overthrow her leadership. Despite their differences, both of these subraces could move 9m per turn and had proficiency in using the rapier, short sword, and hand-hand crossbow. They were also immune to any magical attempts to put them to sleep, and they had superior vision that enabled them to see up to 24m in the dark. While there was not much difference in the dialogues between the two subraces, players could choose either one of them to personalize their Drow characters. The Lolth-sworn Drow had originated in the city of Menzoberranzan, and they had embodied Lolth's teachings to such an extent that they were entirely corrupt and merciless beings with big, bright eyes that spread fear among the Underarch. On the other hand, the Seldarine Drow dedicated their lives to finding allies across Faerûn in an attempt to end the conflict with the Lolth by any means necessary. Dwarf. Known as one of the most common races in Faerûn, dwarves were found across several roles, ranging from miners and blacksmiths to frontline warriors. Dwarves typically had three subraces, including the Shield Dwarf, the Duergar, and the Hill Dwarf, also known as the Gold Dwarf, and they shared some standard features such as dark vision up to 12 meters. They could also take half of the damage from poison and skillfully use equipment such as battle axes, hand axes, warhammers, and light hammers. Gold dwarves typically held roles such as clerics and druids, especially due to their high survivability and confidence. They also had enhanced intuition and a deep knowledge of deep kingdoms' values, rituals, and craftsmanship. On the other hand, shield dwarves were known for their cynical mindset and proficiency in dwarven armor, which made them excellent frontline fighters. They could wield light and medium armor and had endured endless losses in ancient wars against the goblins. Over time, they developed a resilient, determined mindset and were willing to suffer through anything to restore their ancestral land. Finally, the Duergar dwarves were enslaved by the eldritch mind flayers back in the day, and it eventually took a while to adapt to freedom. They maintained a cold demeanor and moved stealthily, and they were quite well known for their enhanced resilience and ability to dodge illusions. They could see in the dark up to 24 meters, and they had evolved quite differently as compared to other subraces after living in the deepest corners of the Underark for most of their lives. Half-elf. Introduced as the children of humans and elves, half-elves might find themselves caught between these two cultures. This race of hybrid creatures had a step in both worlds, and they had gained the adaptability of human beings as opposed to the magical powers of elves. Half-elves could further be categorized into high elf, wood elf, or drow subraces, but they had some common features such as dark vision up to 12 meters and the ability to stay awake, even if their opponents use magic to put them to sleep. They were also proficient in equipment such as spears, pikes, shields, and light armor, and they were curious, ambitious creatures who were welcomed with open arms wherever they went. High Half-elf was the most popular subrace, and they had a hint of the Feywild in their bloodline. Even untrained members of this subrace could wield magic, and their cantrip allowed them to shoot firebolts. Additionally, they could use their intelligence as a modifier to swap their cantrip from firebolt to other options such as acid splash, poison spray, and minor illusion. On the other hand, wood half-elves originated from wood elf parents and had a quick stride and stealthy tactics. They often left Faerûn's forests to explore the realms on their own, and their movement speed was enhanced by 1.5 m. Finally, the Drow half-elves were the result of liaisons between surfacers and Seldarine Drow, and they had very few magical abilities as they were not typically raised in the Underark. Their cantrip enabled them to flash dancing lights and illuminate a 9-meter radius, but these characters were not preferred by players as they only held aesthetic value. Halfling. Often perceived as the hobbits of Dungeons and Dragons, halflings were known to be a kind, practical race of people who could accommodate to any situation. They could move at a base racial speed of 7.5 m per turn, and they even had an advantage on saving throws against being frightened. These brave characters were known to prefer comfortable environments, but their naturally occurring dexterity and luck made them suitable adventurers. While they had a reputation as soft, kind individuals, players had the opportunity to choose between their subraces to pick out sneakier Lightfoot halflings as opposed to the stouter Strongheart halflings. The Lightfoot halflings were destined to become rogues due to their inherently stealthy nature, and they were extremely social beings who traveled all over Faerûn to make something out of themselves. On the other hand, the Strongheart halflings were more suitable to be frontline fighters due to their enduring personalities and resistance to poison. Some legends even stated that the Stronghearts inherited their blood from dwarves, which helped them grow into such hardened creatures. Gnome. Introduced as small, clever, and energetic, gnomes are known for their expended lifespan and the tendency to lurk in the deepest, darkest corners of Faerûn. This race has a base racial speed of 7.5 m per turn, and gnomes are known for their cunning disposition, which serves as an advantage when it comes to proficiencies such as intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws. Gnomes stand to be the smallest playable race in the game, alongside dwarves and halflings, and they seemingly have a decreased movement speed in combat. Typically, gnomes are perceived as tinkerers and inventors with a steampunk vibe to them. This race also offers 3 subraces: the witty and inventive rock gnome, the nature-loving forest gnome, and the underground-dwelling deep gnomes, who are also known as the Sverneblin. Rock gnomes are the most commonly spotted subrace, and they are known for their hardiness and affinity for metal. In addition to this, they get dark vision up to 12 meters and an extra history bonus that helps them become good wizards. On the other hand, Forest gnomes have a free spell to speak with animals, allowing them to thrive in natural environments without much effort. They have dark vision up to 12 meters, but they are rare specimens who like to remain in recluse. Forest gnomes are also shorter than other subraces, but they are well reputed for their magical abilities and craftsmanship. While rock and forest gnomes have a somewhat negative reputation, deep gnomes are especially known for their cheerful, contrasting behavior. They also have dark vision up to 24 meters and an advantage on stealth checks, which helps them survive in the Underark. Githyanki. Introduced as ruthless warriors from the Astral Sea, the Githyanki are a race of dragon riders who are often identified by their hordes of red dragons and silver swords. While they hail from the astral plane, Githyanki are known for their hatred towards the Mind Flayers who ruled over their empire and even enslaved them for millennia. They are closely related to the Githzerai, but share very few features and are known to be far more violent than them. The Githyanki were thematically known as warriors, and they had built their entire culture around the mission to eradicate Mind Flayers. They possess astral knowledge and undergo a lifetime of training to gain proficiency in handling all kinds of light and medium armor. The Githyanki race is also known for their proficiency with the short sword, long sword, and greatsword, and they have psionic abilities that help them track down any illithid menaces. As a Githyanki, players can move about 9M per turn and also have a few unique dialogues, but there aren't any subraces to choose from. This is also the only playable race that could be found outside the player's handbook, but their adaptable and versatile features allow them to excel as players. Githyankis are primarily known for their astral knowledge skill, which stands to be their main proficiency, in addition to Githyanki exclusive cantrips and martial prodigy. The cantrips allow access to an invisible spectral hand that can manipulate objects in close vicinity, while their martial arts training has helped them gain proficiency in handling a range of swords. Tiefling. Also known as the descendants of the devils of the Nine Hells, the Tieflings in Faerûn have often been subjected to a whole lot of stigma in the game's early access. They are characterized by the horns and tails on their bodies, as well as strange skin with hues of red on it. Typically, Tieflings can move 9M per turn, and their dark vision enables them to see up to 12M in the dark. They also have impressive fire-resistant abilities and have excellently demonstrated the ability to use the dangerous fireball spell. This race has 3 subraces with distinct features, starting off with the default Tiefling, also known as the Asmodeus. Bound to the deepest layers of hell called Nessus, these Tieflings inherited the archdevil Asmodeus' bloodline and the ability to wield fire. They can also produce flame from their hands with the help of their cantrip, while the Mephistopheles subrace has a special affinity for arcane magic. Finally, the Zerial subrace originated from Zerial's bloodline and gains special martial arts strength and the ability to conjure searing flames to injure their enemies. Dragonborn. Known to be an extremely proud race that values their clan and skills more than anything else, Dragonborn were enslaved by the dragons for several years. Over time, they tried to become self-sufficient and survive independently with the intention of freeing themselves from all power, even the gods. This race had several subraces based on color, such as black, blue, brass, bronze, copper, gold, green, red, silver, and the white Dragonborn. Ever since Baldur's Gate 3 went into early access, Dragonborn have been the most requested race among players. It offers a ton of customizations, despite being one of the rarest D&D races, and their status as the humanoid descendants of dragons also makes them a fan favorite. They also have unique breath attacks and the ability to resist elements based on their ancestry, which makes them excellent frontline fighters. Dragonborn have a base racial speed of 9M per turn, and players can customize the subraces and the character creation stage. Both the brass and the copper Dragonborn have the ability to spew acid while also being resistant to acid damage due to the ancient dragon's blood flowing through their veins. Similarly, the blue Dragonborn had deep sapphire scales all over their body and the ability to spew lightning-powered breath attacks. They were also resistant to any form of lightning damage, a feature they shared with the shining sepia-scaled bronze Dragonborn. The ochre-hued brass Dragonborn, the shiny gold Dragonborn, and the scarlet red Dragonborn all had the blood of ancient dragons flowing through their veins, which made them resistant to fire and gave them the ability to spew fire. In contrast, the silver and white Dragonborn had frosty breath and could spew a cone of ice to freeze everything in their vicinity. The green Dragonborn is arguably one of the most unique subraces, with emerald skin, stinking breath, resistance to poison, and the ability to spew poison at its opponents. Half-orc. Known to be super emotional creatures, the half-orcs find themselves at the cusp of two varying cultures, as they are a race of human and orc children. They often oscillate between two sides, either allowing the burning rage in their bodies to compel them to fight, or letting love rule over their hearts and encourage them to act out of kindness. They typically channel their angry side, and their primary skill lies in their intimidation tactics. Since they are a hybrid of human and orcs, half-orcs do not have any more subraces, and players cannot choose from a range of half-orc characters. In the game, they make a living as sellswords and have superhuman endurance that allows them to gain 1 hit point even after hitting 0 health points. Other specific features of half-orcs include a base racial speed of about 9m per turn, as well as enhanced dark vision of up to 12m. During a savage attack, the damage dice of half-orc characters are tripled instead of doubled on the condition that one lands a critical hit with a melee weapon. Players had been asking for early access to this race since Baldur's Gate 3's announcement, and their violent nature especially helps them become excellent barbarians or fighters. Marvelous verdict. And with that, we have explored pretty much every single playable character in Baldur's Gate 3. Some races, such as the Elf and Tieflings, have many more subraces that further allow us to enhance our characters' unique abilities, who also have their own range of specialized armor and skill proficiencies. We hope you enjoyed exploring them with us, and do share your thoughts on your favorite races in the comments below. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.